Hello, how you doing? Are you all right? Yeah? Brilliant. Okay, so it's great to be Irish now, isn't it? We're delighted with ourselves now. We're all calling ourselves Irish names now. No one's called Joe. They're all Joseph, you know, and it's all, you go into Trinity now, they're all like, yeah, great, Fikra, how you doing? All right, yeah. They all have Irish names in Trinity. They come up to you after a gig and they're like, yeah, how you doing? My name's Cockamillish. All right, yeah. This is my girlfriend, Fwyniog. She's a pain. But yeah, so I grew up I'm from the north side. I'm from Meath, yeah, and I grew up in a farm. Are there any farmers here? Obviously Nobber, yes. Yeah, I grew up in a farm. I moved to Dublin at one point, and my father hated me moving to Dublin. He was going, "What the feck are you doing in Dublin? Taking drugs, are you? Getting your belly button pierced." He'd be like, "I know all about drugs. You're up there in Dublin injecting yourself with hash, aren't you, eh? Smoking heroin tablets." But I'll talk about farming now. Don't worry, if you didn't grow up in a farm, you'll know what I'm talking about, because you listen to the ads on the radio for farming products, don't you? And you hear them on RTE radio, so you know all the technical words like scour, don't you? You know, and psychoptic mange mites. You heard of them, they're terrible, yeah. Have you ever had them? They're awful. Anyway, and then there's liver fluke, and then there's the worst, immature fluke. They're not just normal fluke, they're immature. They'll be hanging around the farm going, "How's it going, Ari? I'm an immature fluke. I'll bleed and wreck your farm, I will, huh?" They'll be joyriding on your sheep and everything. But anyway, those ads are on a Sunday. You're trying to eat your dinner and there's a GAA match on the radio or something, and then it's half time and you're eating your steak, and suddenly this ad will come on the radio. You're looking at your food and suddenly you hear, "Have your cows got scour? Then use 2220 Jutamoxy Hypertoxy. Stop the shite coming out of your cows. 2220 Jutamoxy, it's great." Always a cow at the end of the ad. But also, I was educated by nuns. Any of the girls here get educated by nuns? Yeah. Brilliant, I'll see you at the bar later, brilliant. Convent girls. But I learned feck all from the nuns, because they were a silent order. They were the little sisters of Marcel Marceau. They were a mime order of nuns. It's the patron saint of imaginary balloons or something. And I got no sex education. It was terrible. I remember the first time, you know, I grew up in a farm, right? And you know what's the worst thing about growing up in a farm is in the summertime when you're off school, you meet no one. You're isolated in the middle of a farm. You're hanging around with animals and cows and sheep and chickens, and you kind of get to like them. You get to know them, you know. And like chickens are awful hooers altogether, you know. They're messers, you know. They're kind of camp chickens. You know the way they kind of walk around. They're walking around the farm like that, looking at you like, kind of teasing you, you know. The little, you know, you're trying to milk a cow and they're looking at you like that. They bend over, pretend they see a worm, you know, they're looking at you. They're little arses, you know. They're like little prostitutes on the farm. Some of them wear leather mini skirts, little chicken legs sticking out. They come up to you looking at you like that. Fuck, 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 fuck. And they're tough as well. Don't give a chicken any hassle, or they're like, fuck off! They're mental. But anyway, I had no sex education. I remember the first time I lost my virginity. I've lost it 4 times now. It's brilliant. But I was with a girl. That was good. Wasn't a chicken. And I was back in her house, and she was very, you know, she was older than me. She was about 30, you know. I was 28. Anyway, I was back at her house, and she said, you know, and the more nervous I got, the more the farmer in me came out, you know. And she was saying, "Do you want to go upstairs?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was following her up the stairs, and suddenly I started going, "Come on, hop there, come on, get in there, whoosh, come on, hop, suck, 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 suck." Then I checked her for worms and I dipped her. Well, she was from Offaly. She wasn't tagged. Then we started off in the missionary position, which if you're standing up, it'd be like that. In and out, good Catholic Irish sex, in and out, no messing around, keep the lights off. Just talk about something else. Gee, it's shocking warm today, isn't it, huh? It's very close, isn't it? Will it rain, will it, huh? I was like this. I had a microphone in my hand and everything. It was great. I did, because I'm so well endowed. She was the other end of a big marquee. I was going, is that okay, is it? I had my hand on my hip as well, actually, yeah. I did, yeah, because it was casual sex. I was just casually... I was wearing a tracksuit, you know. But it was great crack. That's Irish thing. They're not like that in Europe. They're a bit more open, you know. In France now, they wouldn't give a shit. Like in France, they'd be jumping around the bedroom in the nip with all the lights on, torches and everything. They'd be jumping off the wardrobe dressed in rubber or something, you know. Have a croissant up their arse or something. Apparently. Allegedly. But I'm not doing any of that now of kids. Any parents here? Obviously, they must have some parents. And I have 2 children, and the first child, when we found out we were having a first child, we decided we wouldn't find out if it was going to be a boy or a girl. And it's 5 now, we're dying to have a look. We don't know what it is. But they wreck you, they knacker you, kids. They're not normal. I didn't realise before I had kids, they wake up really early. They wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. They get up at 6. And they don't have any jobs they're at. They just get up for the crack. What's wrong with them? They're mental. Walking around the kitchen. Oh, this is great. Oh, I'm bored. Let's wake up Daddy. Daddy, wake up! And they're not normal. They don't wake up slowly like we do, like normal people. They wake up in mid-conversation. Whatever they were saying before they went to bed, they just continue that. Their first word in the morning is "and." You know, my daughter would be lying in bed beside me because she always sneaks into the bed in the middle of the night and she's asleep beside me, and then she just opens her eyes and goes, "And do you remember last week we were on the way to school, we saw a donkey inside the road?" I go, "Fucking hell, what's wrong with you, you little mad midget," you know? But Irish kids never get excited on television. You ever see, like at Den TV, there might be a quiz programme on in the afternoon, and there's big prizes, like they win a holiday in Disneyland or something. And the kids never get excited. You know, the presenter is trying to build it up, you know, and he's going, "Congratulations, you've won a holiday in Disneyland." You're like, "Right so, right. I hope I don't miss the silage." My favourite time of the year, you know. And it's funny, like I live out in Meath and all these kids, like you see in the city kids kind of hanging around, skateboarder kids with big baggy pants, and they're into rap music, and it's grand, they're hanging around a city. But it's funny when they're kids living on a farm and they're into rap music and they're hanging around a farm, skateboarding up and down a silage pit or something, you know. And they're going, "Yo," or whatever, hanging just to the cows or something. "Yo, how are you doing, heifer?" Yeah, you know. 2 of them meet in a country lane. "Yo, Martin, hey, yo yourself, good man, yeah, yeah." They might be inbred or something. "Yeah, give me 6 there," you know. It's handy for milking, well, don't milk them anymore, but yeah, and they'd be hanging around, they'd be bringing in the cows in the evening, and they'd be listening to Snoop Doggy Dogg or something, and they'd be getting angry about something that's happening in LA, and they'd be taking out in the cows, they'd be bringing them in for milking, going, "Come on, hop there, you fuddermuckers, come on, get in there." Shouting at the calves, "Here you mother suckler, get in there. That's my heifer, yo bitch," yeah. My son is 8 now, and like 5 years ago I was singing Humpty Dumpty to him. Now he'd be listening to Eminem. If I sang Humpty Dumpty to him now, he'd be like, "No way, Daddy, that's not cool, you dirty big hooah." So what I do to get him into Humpty Dumpty, I do it as a rap, right? So I get him ready for bed at night, he's in his pyjamas, he's got a big gold chain around his neck, you know, and he's hanging around there in his bedroom. I come in dressed like a rapper, have a rapper outfit that I get in the rapper shop in RD, you know. And I come in like this. "Okay, son, I'm going to lay down Humpty Dumpty on you now. Can you dig it?" The hippity Humpty Dumpty crew were hanging on the wall. Ask his bros, do they know? Was he pushed or did he fall? The hickory dickory doctor might as well be a vet. Humpty's broke and his yolk has become omelette. He loves it. Yo, peace, peace. That's for my peeps from Nobber, yeah. And then I get 4 girls from next door, the big girls. I get them to go, I give them a $5 each, just to go up to his bed and do that. Just shake their arses at him like that. Just kind of shaking their arses at him. And if they don't have thongs, I get them to squeeze their knickers into the cheeks of their arse, you know. If you wouldn't mind doing that for me, girls, you know, it'd make his day, you know. And he's delighted, he's loving this because he watches all Snoop Doggy Dogg videos. And in Snoop Doggy Dogg videos, I don't know where Snoop is from, but all the girls in the videos, they're just doing this. They're just shaking their arses everywhere and doing all sorts of mad poses. Even, I don't know, they could be even just frying up in the morning, but they still be shaking their arse, you know. These poor girls, when they get older, they'll be banjacks, you know. Be 60, they'll be going, jeez, I wish I didn't do the Snoop Doggy Dogg videos. I can't stand up straight. They'll be going up to Holy Communion going, jeez, and the arse is killing me, you know. You know. I don't know what village she's from, Snoop, but up near Slane or something. But and usually they're all around a swimming pool, and Snoop is in LA, and Snoop is giving out shit about something. I don't know why he's angry. You know, he's a young fella. He's paid off the mortgage and everything. You know, but maybe he can't get planning permission for an ensuite bathroom or something like that. But he's giving out shit. But the girls are not angry. They just have their arses over the pool, and they're just doing that. You know. And that's grand, you know, and they'd be just saying, and Dr. Dre would come along and be like, hello, Dr. Dre, how are you doing? Don't mind me, I'm just shaking my arse. Go ahead in. There's a big party, sandwiches, Eminem is making sandwiches and everything, it's great. But then, that'd be normal in LA. But you couldn't do that in Ireland, could you? Go into a swimming pool and just go up to the pool and just shake your arse over the pool. It'd be mental. There'd be eruptions. You'd be like, what are you doing there? Are you going to have a shite in the pool or what? This is a community pool. Someone will get a verruca. Now, come on, get out, cut that caper out. I know your father. But remember when we were growing up, we had different books at school. Do you remember, like, we had Anne and Barry? Does anyone remember Anne and Barry? Did anyone else have anything else, like Peter and Jane or something? A few Peter and Janes. Anyway, I didn't like Anne and Barry. I thought they were a bit posh. But just by the way they were looking at me in the book, you know. And I knew they were posh because the way they didn't say things like us. They weren't normal, you know. That like say I was in the book, Joe, and say, what's your name again? Lorraine. Yeah, if it was Joe and Lorraine, it'd be normal. We'd be saying things to each other. It'd be like, hello, how are you? Said Joe. Not too bad. Said Lorraine. Just saying things, right? But Anne and Barry would be different. They'd be like, hello, how are you? Quizzed Anne. Ooh. Not too bad. Acknowledged Barry. Acknowledging each other and exclaiming half the time and crying. You know, Barry would cry. He'd be like, there's an apple. Barry cried. What's wrong with apples? Why are you crying, you feckin' idiot? Your parents throwing apples at you at home or something. And they'd exclaim and they'd pipe. Look at that, he piped. How do you pipe to someone? Look at that. I came home from school and I was exclaiming, I was running around the farm exclaiming. I just learned how to do it in the Anne and Barry book. And my father running after me going, what the feck are you doing exclaiming? You're frightening the cows. And I wasn't frightening the cows. This is the 70s. Remember the 70s? The cows, farmers were giving the cows all sorts of drugs, angel dust and everything. The cows were off their heads, walking around. They were walking around touching the electric fence for a buzz. You know, they're going... That's fucking brilliant, man. Wrecking me head, man. Going around with their udders pierced and everything. Go on, milk that. Go on, I dare you. You couldn't brand the sheep, because the sheep would be going, no, put a heart and a love me ma. And give me a number 1 all over, will you? But I put all these words in, you know, you do composition at school. And I thought I put all these words like exclaim, demand, pipe, croak, the whole lot. And the composition was called My Day at the Zoo. And these were the first 3 lines. When I awoke, the sun was shining. Yippee! I acknowledged. I ran down the stairs, exclaiming, piping and croaking at the same time. Mammy, what's for breakfast? Tea and toast. She ejaculated from the kitchen. I handed that in and the social workers were sent out and everything. Ah, that's true though. But Ireland has changed, you know. Changed, it's unbelievable now. We have drive-by shootings and everything. It's great, isn't it? It's really great. Even in Duleek, everywhere, you know, it's brilliant. But I get disappointed when you get a drive-by down in a small town in Ireland. I get disappointed when the locals are interviewed, you know, and they always go, this is the last place in Ireland you'd think this had happened, you know. I go, why don't you stick up for yourselves? You know, on your interview, go, yeah, this is great, this is fantastic, this has really put this town on the map. We have broadband coming in next week, and it'll be the same as Dublin now, you know. You know, and the hotels have changed. Remember, like, years ago, the hotels were all shite. Now it's all fancy. It's unbelievable. It's confusing when you go into a hotel room now because all the switches do funny things. It's not like at home where you just have one switch for every light. In the hotel rooms, the switches do different things every time you press them. And it's confusing. I remember I was in Galway one time. I was just trying to go to bed, and I was lying in bed watching television. I had the lights on, I had the lights on in the bathroom as well. I was paying for it, I didn't give a shit. I had all the lights on. Even had the shower running and everything, Fuck it, I'm paying for it, I decided I'll go to bed, and I'll turn off the lights. So I had 3 switches here. One switch, all the lights in the bathroom went off. I thought, that's brilliant. Another switch, bedside lights went off. There was one more light to go off. I thought, this is bound to do it. Turned that switch on, and another 2 lights came on that I didn't know about before. And something came out of a wall, I was up to 3 o'clock trying to turn the lights off in my bedroom. I wished I was back in the 80s. Remember the 80s, you have these shite hotels. Like, sometimes you go into a hotel now and it's like being back in the 80s. And you always know when you're when you're checking in that it's an 80s shite hotel. Because when you check in, they give you your key and it's attached to a huge piece of wood. And they're like, you're not going to rob our keys. Breakfast is between 5:30 and 5:25 to 6. There'll be no lions here, I'll tell you. It's madness. And the guard, you see more of the guards now on the roads, do you? I think you do. I got stopped for speeding there recently, and I was obviously got on spot fine, which I deserved, because I was in a hurry. But what I didn't like is the guard kept me there for half an hour. Do you know what I mean? I was in a hurry. And that was obvious. So I was speeding. He should be in, good man, here's your fine, now go ahead, good man, it's people like you who's keeping this country going, But no, the reason he kept me so long is because he spoke Gardaí language. It's an archaic language. They can't say that normally. Instead of saying, here's your fine, Mr. Rooney, now go ahead. No, he came up to me and he went, Mr. Rooney, I am now issuing you with a fine for travelling at a velocity higher than the legal limit while travelling in a built-up area in a mechanically propelled vehicle. I thought it was an award I was getting or something. I was going to make a speech. And then he asked me a question that the guards always ask you. It's like, where were you tonight? Why do they ask you that? Are they looking for a good nightclub or something? Is a good club around here? Or do you know why? Are they trying to? They think they'll catch? It's a technique. If they ask everyone in Ireland, they're bound to catch someone out one night to be like, where are you tonight? I was off killing a fella. Ah, shit, guard, shite! Jeez, you're too quick for me. Come down to the station. Okay, so where are you gone? But he asked me where I was, and I told him. I'd been at home, sitting on the couch, watching television. And that's what I told the guard. But I told him in Gardaí language. In case he might think I was a guard. So, he said, where are you tonight? I said, I was at home, supporting myself on a bench-like device, while regarding an apparatus with speakers and a screen in the middle, which can collect airwaves and transmit them back at you as pictures and sound, guard. He was like, oh, you're a guard, go ahead, say nothing, yeah. He gave me no points on me licence, just minus points. I have a handicap now when I'm out driving. It's brilliant. Yes, Ireland has definitely changed. Restaurants are all fancy now. It's all like, you go into a restaurant now and you look at the menu and it's all poetry. I don't know, the descriptions of the food, it's unbelievable. Like, it's, I don't know what they're trying to do. They're confusing you. Like, you might be just getting a lamb chop and spuds and a bit of celery, but on the menu it'll be described like, a lamb chop resting on a bed of cress beside a couch of potatoes, watching a television of celery. You're going, I'm not eating this. They're having great crack there on the plate. It'd be like, 2 little sesame seeds on a boat of carrot out on a lake of parsley sauce, just having a bit of crack. And I hate this crack about the black pepper. The way you can have your own salt and you can do whatever you like, but oh no, the black pepper has to be handled by a professional. I'm going, I have one of them at home, I know how to use it. But but I did a first course on this, you know. This makes my life worthwhile. It's because the pepper mills are so huge in restaurants. They're massive things. They're so good. They can do everybody in the whole restaurant in one go. And then, you know, when you're out for a meal with the girl, and girls now, I think a lot of you are under pressure from the media to have no arse or something like that. And you get, to dessert, and you say you're with your wife or your partner, or both of them. And you say, what are you having for dessert? And she's like, oh no, I don't think I'll have a dessert. I'm on a diet. I've no idea why I look like this now, but anyway. And so you say, you're not having dessert? Yes, I'm not having dessert now, I'm on a diet. Okay, grand. Well, I'm going to have dessert if you don't mind. Okay, yeah. And so you'd be ordering a big chocolate cake or something, and you'd be under the impression that it's your order, so it's your cake, it's your dessert, really. That'd be the whole idea, really. She's not having a dessert, so it arrives, and suddenly, oh, that looks nice. Can I try some? That's lovely. That's lovely. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, fuck me arse. There's nothing wrong with having an arse. I don't know. It'd be great. Maybe if women had chocolate arses, that'd be the thing, wouldn't it? There'd be no guilt then. You could sit at home on a Saturday or Friday night watching Pat Kenny and just eating your arse. It'd be great. No guilt. You know, we have to do a couple of songs before I go. So, are there no English, any foreign people, French, anyone? Just for the crack. Well, yeah, where are you from? Sligo. Get a few new bypasses and they think they're foreign. Anyway, bypass Ballysadare. Now we're foreign. Anyway. But, okay, no, it's great though. I think the English and Irish are getting on well now because, because we have nice clothes as well now. And, we are very similar, basically, we eat the same food, we drink too much, speak the same language. Okay, they made us speak this language by shooting us and starving us, but still, that's water under the bridge now. Anyway, my ancestors weren't really affected by the famine because they were big pasta eaters. Everyone else were looking for spuds and they were in eating lasagna. Going, what's the big fuss about? They were more affected by the big basil blight that happened a few years later. They're going, oh, I can't eat this. There's no basil. Let's get on the coffin ship now. But English and Irish, the only way you can really tell the difference is by the folk music. English folk music is very kind of all about going to market and buying herbs and stuff and parsnips and things. And it'd be stuff like, oh, bring me some parsnips from the fair town of Dingleberry. It's that kind of shite, it's rubbish. And but the Irish folk music is just really violent for no reason, Like you'd have Ronnie Drew singing and it'd be like, oh, there was an old man, and he lived with a goat in a cottage down by the river. Then he stabbed the goat and he made himself a coat and made sandals out of its liver. Oh, brilliant! Then there'd be loads of exaggeration about drinking and fighting. So there'd be stuff like, then he went to the pub and drank 15 pints in the time it takes to boil a kettle. And he fought 500 grenadiers. The only weapon he had was a nettle. And then you can rhyme with any word in an Irish folk song, because you just do the word. And in the next line you go, diddly idle, and the end of that word. So I'll give you an example, it'd be like, oh, he was a brave man and very ostentatious. He was a brave man, diddly idolacious. Brilliant. Genius. And before I go, when the kids were young, as I said, I used to sing nursery rhymes to them. Around when my kids were young, David Bowie had a child. You know David Bowie, his wife is a man. And I used to think, is David Bowie, is he singing Little Miss Muffet to his kids when I'm singing it to mine? And if he is, because he's a rock star, is he like putting on a big show? He probably just put his kids to bed and then he'd sneak out. And then suddenly he'd come back into the room and there'd be lights on everywhere and he'd have his guitar, he'd be up in the top bunk posing like this. And there'd be a minder keeping his kid away from him. And he'd be like, Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came the spiders from Mars and frightened Miss Muffet to wacky high. All right, and finally, Christy Moore would be there. He'd have all his kids. He'd have a little festival for them every night. He'd have them in sleeping bags covered in muck. And he'd be singing about all the fairy tale characters being down in Lisdoon Varna. So it'd be like... How's it going? There's Rapunzel with her big head of hair. It's a long way from here to there. The dwarf said to Snow White, it's your shout. 7 creamy pints of stout. Sleeping Beauty's out for the count. No one will kiss her for any amount. She might be a princess and potential queen, but she's no friend of the Listerine. And speaking of something smelly, Cinderella's dropped one of her wellies. There's old Mother Hubbard, Jack and Jill, the 3 of them singing Spancel Hill. There's little Jack Horner giving his pie a poke, Humpty Dumpty playing with his yoke. Okay, that's it from me. You've been a lovely audience. Thank you. I'm Joe Rooney. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you.